Delicious bitter leaf made with cocoyam with lots of love. Ogbono, very drawy, very slimy, my family's favorite. And of course, I have stew. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are cooking in bulk, and the reason why we are cooking in bulk is we want to save money, we want to save time, and at the same time take a lot of stress away. When you cook in bulk, you save lots of money and you save your time as well. And of course, school have resumed, so we are cooking two different soup and stew. We are cooking ogbono soup, and we are also making bitter leaf soup, so that we have something in the freezer. And I also have time to go to the gym. It's not when I want to go to the gym, I'll start thinking what are they going to eat. But if there's soup in the freezer, they can easily make eba and everybody will be okay, you know. As a mom, I need to take care of myself so that I'll be able to take care of my children. Guys, subscribe to my channel. Of course, subscribe so that you'll be happy, I'll be happy. Of course, when you subscribe, I am more happy. Thanks for subscribing. God bless you. Let's go into the cooking properly. I started off by boiling my cocoyam. At this point, my cocoyam was done and ready. I removed it. I boiled my protein the previous day. I added citrus to it. I added pomo to it. I added stockfish to the pot. Oh, and I also added seasoning cube. I covered, add salt. I covered to cook. This is pepper, already blended pepper I brought from the freezer. I gave everything a stir. I cover to cook. This is my cocoyam. I'm trying to turn it to a smooth paste. I added crayfish to it so that we'll blend everything. I added water so that it will be easier for my blender to walk through it. At this point, my meat was ready, and I separated and added water to it, and I added dry fish, already washed dried fish. I shared into two because I'm making another soup. At this point, I poured in my blended cocoyam because it will serve as our thickener. The cocoyam will be our thickener. So I added it to the pot. I added more water to the pot. I covered to cook. I just rinsed my blender with it. I add red oil and I covered to cook. It has boiled for some time here. I opened, you can see it's getting very thick and all that. I added my ogiri. You cannot cook a proper Anambra soup without ogiri. I added salt to it. Yes, ogiri has a bad smell, but when you add it to your bitter leaf soup, the sweetness of it, the deliciousness of that soup will be raised to power 10. I added more pepper to it because it wasn't peppery at all. Not as if I'm cooking pepper, but at least let you be able to taste the pepper when you're eating it. At this point, my soup was ready. I added my bitter leaf. All I needed to do at this point was to cook it for at least 3 more minutes or 2 minutes to get the bitter leaf to be soft. Bitter leaf already washed, not bitter, but the one that when you eat it, it will be a little bitter. When you drink your water, it is sweet in the palate, okay? At this point, my soup was 100% ready. Look at it. It's the life. This is goodness, bitter leaf goodness. Nobody will reject this food. Even my children that don't like swallow, everybody was confessing, "Mommy, your soup was delicious." And it was really delicious. No capping, it was delicious. Yes, when I was done with this particular soup, I had to bring it out. Just look at the goodness now. Everything in the right proportion. The pepper, the salt, the seasoning cube, everything was in the right proportion. So I brought it down. Now it is time to cook my ogbono soup. Yes, I added my red oil. I added my pepper. This is time to add water, and I allowed to cook a little bit, and I added more water. This is 1 derica of ogbono, so it's going to be very slimy, and we added a lot of water. Look at it. What I'm doing at this point is to cook the ogbono through. Yes, and I pounded my crayfish. I used a lot of crayfish. Of course, for your soup to be delicious, you need crayfish. Without crayfish, you won't really get the deliciousness of any kind of soup you're making. And I added okpehe. Okpehe is locust beans, the another version of ogiri, but this one is okpehe. I pounded it with my crayfish. I added it to my cooking so that we'll get a nice flavor. And at this point, I poured in my crayfish that I pounded with okpehe. I could have used blender, but I didn't want to use blender. That was why I used my mortar. I gave it a good stir. I added my already blended pepper. Yes, I had this pepper in the freezer from leftover party that I did on the 16th. So I added it. This is my protein. In the protein, we have stockfish, dry fish, we have intestine, we have pure beef, and I rinsed my bowl, pour the water inside. There is also cow skin inside. I already boiled. Everything was already boiled. Now I added 1 seasoning cube. I use no ordinary, not any other version of no ordinary. I added it to the pot of soup. I gave it a good stir. Of course, I added a little bit of salt to give us a perfect and nice taste. Everything was so perfect at this point. I gave it a good stir. Yeah, a very good stir. And one thing I love about this ogbono is that it's very, very slimy. You know, there are some ogbono you buy, some will be smelling, some will not have a nice taste, but this very one smells so well and very slimy at the same time. If you are abroad, you get this kind of ogbono, you will love it because the smell was heavenly. I covered to cook, and at this point I opened and my soup was ready. Yes, my soup was ready. I added uziza leaf and a little bit of, yeah, this is the uziza leaf, a little bit of uziza leaf, and I added a little bit of bitter leaf as well, washed bitter leaf, just to give it a another flavor and taste as well when you're eating it. So the vegetable added, I stir to get everything to be well incorporated, and at this point my soup was 80% ready. This is me adding the bitter leaf. Yes, just a little bit bitter leaf like I said earlier, and I covered to cook. And at this point I stir. I love this slimy soup, and my children also love it very much. This is how they, Mommy, can I have a little to lick? Mommy, can I have a little to lick? And we end up licking more before we were ready to eat. At this point, my soup was ready. Yes, just look at the goodness of the soup. 100% ready. I covered, I removed. Now it is time to cook my stew. So what I did was, when I was done cooking the draw soup, I put my pot on the fire. I had a little bit of oil that we had in it, and I added more vegetable oil to it. Now, what I did was I allowed the oil to be hot, just the way that when you put in your onion, you're going to get the fragrance of the onion. And I put in my onion. What did I say? I said frying your onions help to release the juice in the onion and give it a fragrance that is appealing and soothing to my soul. I added a little bit of salt. Yes, I added a little bit of salt, and at this point I will allow you to enjoy the rest of the video without my voice.